I love that when you texted me, I made fun of you because you're like, he's a smoke show. I'm like, are we doing that now? Man of the year, man of the year, man of the year.
Welcome to the #1 friendship podcast in the country. I'm Aaron Karo.
I'm Matt Ritter.
So Matt, we have a very special guest today. My buddy, the actor Travis Van Winkle. He is starring with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the new Netflix show FUBAR. Great dude. We had a great conversation with him. And I thought you'd appreciate that I met him through one of our Man of the Year tenants.
Third place.
The third place, which is one of our, touchstones.
Yeah.
My third place is the gym. I went to the same gym. You have to embrace consistency. The same gym, same class, like every day for weeks and months. Travis was there. First, you just kind of head nod. Then you kind of say, hey, man. Then you introduce yourself. And then you're like, hey, let's work out together. And hey, we should hang out. And then 6 months later, you're like, went out with him, and 10 years later, we're buddies.
It's amazing. A quick question, because we had talked about this on a pod. I think we had a listener question of I go hardcore at the gym, and I'm not sure people are, into it. And then I said, well, you can make friends with people who are not lifting the same amount as you. I'm guessing you and Travis, no offense, are not lifting the same amount.
Travis is what we call jacked.
Yeah. Not that you're not.
Yeah,
you're
but
not. You're not. You are not.
He is, he's a former model.
Former?
I don't know if he's still
Former?
models, but
that guy could still be in catalog.
He's an Abercrombie guy.
Yeah, he could still definitely be print.
Oh, yeah.
He may have aged out of,
Yeah, I think he could walk.
Vogue.
I don't think he wants to.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's extremely hot. And ladies, if you'd like to see him, you could watch this pod on YouTube.
What a shameless plug.
I don't know. It seemed right. So one of the things he talks about in the interview is men's groups, which is, I cannot believe we've never spoken about men's groups in this pod. What is your definition in your mind of what a men's group even is?
I think the reason we never talked about it is because I never really knew what it was. It felt like something from our parents' generation.
Oh, really? No, it's newer.
No, it was around.
Okay.
It's kind of coming back. There were men's groups all through our parents' gen.
Really?
Yeah, there were men's groups. Now they're coming back. I think there's temple men's groups. Remember the rabbi was talking about how they've had those forever. But I also think, I always thought Elks Club was kind of like a men's group. The Rotary Club was a men's group.
Yeah.
But
they're not.
They're not.
Yeah.
What I'm saying,
Yeah.
they're sort of what I thought of as a men's group.
Can I just define it real quick for audience? This is from mensgroup.com.
Yeah.
A men's group is typically a group of 5 to 10 guys that meet on a regular basis to share what is happening in their lives and receive guidance on how to best navigate the situations. It's like a support group for dudes.
Yeah. So that's not what I thought men's groups were. I just thought they were all these different men's clubs, but I do always hear about it a lot now.
By the way, not to say that all those things you mentioned are not valid things.
Yeah, but I'm hearing a lot about men's clubs.
Yeah, because men aren't typically that vulnerable.
Yeah.
They don't share that much. They're afraid to ask for advice and guidance. And also some men don't know that many other men.
Yeah.
So I think it's great.
I love it.
Yeah, this is really a men's group for me, you, and Theo.
This is our men's group.
Yeah, this is our men's group.
Yeah.
It's a group of 3.
Yeah.
So let's talk to Travis and then come back on the other side. All right, this is our interview with Travis Van Winkle. Travis, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. Nice to see you.
Oh, it's been way too long.
It has been long. I don't even remember the last time I saw you in the flesh.
I think I do. It was at the farmer's market. Remember we used to go on Thursday nights?
That writers group thing?
At the Grove?
Yeah. So Travis, I don't know if you know the impetus for the podcast, but basically, me and Matt are childhood friends. We have the same 9 friends from 4th or 5th grade, and we're part of the world's greatest friendship tradition. Every year on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, the 9 of us gather from wherever we are and have dinner at Peter Luger Steakhouse in Brooklyn, and we vote on which friend had the best year. And then that friend wins our Man of the Year trophy, this gigantic trophy. You get your name engraved on it, and you keep the trophy for the rest of the year. And that's jumping off of the podcast. Yeah.
Wow. That's an incredible thing you guys have going. And you've been doing this since what year did you start it?
This is our 20th annual dinner coming up.
Wow. I mean, the idea of having community and having a strong sense of friendship is one of the links to longevity. So I think you guys are onto something.
Yeah, you've read the study that we've been citing in our podcast over and over again. I love that. But just curious, like, do you have any rituals, traditions, anything with your buddies like that you do every year, every month, every week, getting together, dinners, trips, anything like that?
We did have this men's New Year's thing going on for quite a few years. We started this in 2012, and we would do this incredible international travel. It was only my close group of guy friends. And the first one we did was Tokyo and Thailand. Then we did Bali. Then we did Costa Rica. Then we did Nicaragua. Like we were always having these incredible trips where we would show up to celebrate New Year's, and we would really get clear on our successes, our struggles and challenges of the year prior, the things that we wanted to work on for the new year, get clear on the goals that we wanted to achieve in this upcoming year. And we would really share in this really beautiful way. And we would hold each other accountable. And so it became this tradition that we had for quite a few years. And then as all the friends started getting married and kids and, everything just changes and shifts. I'm still the one that's not married or having any kids, but
welcome to the club here. It's me and you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's I guess a good club to be in. But yeah, that was such an incredible experience that we had for many years, and it was always so fulfilling to know that that's something that we had, and we would check in. Like every 4 months, we would all kind of get together and have a conversation and rehash some of our goals that we talked about, how they were going, and it was an accountability group, and it really, I think that helps you elevate and helps you achieve the success that you want. You need that support. We all need help. And to have it be your close guy friends, they can relate to what you're going through in the world. And so it's, it's not as epic as yours, it sounds like, but it was a moment.
It sounds more epic, to be honest.
Yeah, you're right. Yours sucks. Ours was really, really epic.
I mean, I like ours better, but I will say that does sound pretty cool, and I'm curious who started that, because that's I always wonder, like, people have these great friendship traditions, but somebody has to come up with the idea to start them.
Yeah, I don't know how, I think the trip,
was it always an accountability thing right from the beginning?
Well, the journaling around, the challenge that you had in the past year, the successes that you had, and then what you wanted to achieve in this upcoming year. And, I think that was something that we had done as a group even before these trips started. I don't know who came up with that, but I know that the first trip was inspired because my father used to work for Delta, and I had buddy passes for my friends.
Oh.
And it is a nightmare if you ever have traveled on a buddy pass. Most of the time it doesn't work. You get stuck in an airport. You end up having to buy a ticket anyways. It's usually a nightmare. But for whatever reason, I had buddy passes that I got from my dad's friend. And so I asked my friends if they wanted to go on this trip to Thailand. And for whatever reason, the stars aligned, and there was basically, we were 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th on the list, and there were 4 people in front of us. And for whatever reason, that was one party, and they didn't show up, and we made the trip. So there was the first time that it all happened. It was pretty special. There are some other things. I was in a few different men's groups over the years where we would consistently show up every week and have incredible conversations. And what we would do with the way that we had it set up was a different person would facilitate the conversation each week. And so there was always a kind of responsibility that you had to bring in whatever you thought was valuable to talk about. And you got to actually learn from your friends when they brought in what they thought was valuable. And I enjoyed that flow for a while, but currently I don't have any rituals with my guy friends. And I feel like that's a part of my life that actually feels like it's lacking a bit, that I would really appreciate. My 40th birthday, my good buddy Justin threw me a party at his house, and we invited all of my guy friends over. I told him I wanted to have like a men's retreat, and there was no alcohol, no drugs. It was a very sober experience. He brought a chef in, and there was like 30 of my guy friends, and he brought a Qigong instructor, and we learned the power of our energy, and we were all like trying to do like these crazy flips and doing a terrible job at it. We then went and did this breath work that was really intense. And we did the sharing circle where they looked me in the eye and they each told me what I represented to them. And then I had to tell them, and it was in between all this breath work. We're tired, we're crying. It's really wild. And then we all did a cold plunge. And then we had this incredible steak dinner, and I shared this poem that I'd written about everyone to show them that I loved them and appreciated them. And then we had this woman that came and performed a sound bath, and we all laid in the room and we're all about, in different like dream states. And then we sat in this jacuzzi and checked out the meteor shower that was happening that night. It was such an amazing 40th birthday party that was centered around the essence of what a men's group is. And I really needed that coming into my 40th year, this new decade. It's really important that I had that. So I know right now I don't have a regular structure where that's involved, but I know it's something that I really want and I yearn for right now.
So it sounds like you have a couple of great things going on, a healthy friend circle. It sounds like you guys are vulnerable, a lot of stuff that we cover in the podcast. It seems like you're doing well. I guess my question is, have you kind of like lost touch with some of those people, or I really just like, do you need some new friends? Like, when was the last time you made a new friend? I guess I'm curious, because a lot of our podcast is about how, people like, I have no friends, and they don't really not have friends, right? It's that they've had a lifetime of where it was just easier to be with their friends and easier to connect. And as you get older, you learn when you turn 40, it's just harder to make the time. So I'm just curious, what is going on in your sort of your life? Have you just been like, I'm so overwhelmed that none of us have been able to make the time anymore? Or, are you like, I need to make some new friends because these people are now married with kids, and now you got to go hang out with Karo, maybe.
You should be so lucky.
Is that the last resort? Like, now that all my friends are busy.
It's the end of the line.
No, life is always moving and life is always flowing, and a lot of my friends have very big lives, and they're living them, and I'm living my life, and our paths will cross when they need to cross. We'll stay in touch via text and conversation or FaceTime, and sometimes we'll meet up. But right now, it's just everyone's been very busy in our lives, so that's made it difficult. But I was just recently in Austin for a couple months, and I put myself in a situation where I met a tremendous amount of new friends very luckily very quickly. And I think putting ourselves in those uncomfortable situations where we actually force our hand to go out there and be social, you'll surprise yourself. Because it was a great experience where I had to put myself out there, and I made some really good friends when I was in Austin. And so right now I'm just in this place where I'm just transitioning, and work is taking me in a certain direction. And we haven't lost touch. We've just lost the time to share space together as much as we used to. And I'm adjusting to that, and I hear that's what happens when you reach you start to get into your 40th decade. It's very common, but it's a new experience for me.
I want to drill down to the Austin thing, just because our listeners are always asking us, and we always get like, so how do we do it? How did you do it? Like, you went to a new city. Like, do you remember, is there one thing that you did? We said put yourself out there that kind of cemented a friendship with somebody in this new Austin.
How'd you meet all these people?
Yeah.
So you always use your resources. You use what you have. So I had a friend or two in Austin, and they invited me to one of their events or one of their parties, and you just show up wholehearted and you show up open, and you end up organically connecting with people. I also have a dog, so I'll go to the park every day, or I'll take my dog to this area of Barton Springs where you swim, and hopefully we walk around life with an open heart and an open mind. And so naturally you end up just gravitating towards certain people at a certain time, and you guys have a conversation and there's a spark, and, you honor that, and you then, nourish that friendship or that budding friendship. And so for me, it was just using the resources I had, and I would say yes to things. And it's really important when you say yes. So if you go anywhere to a new town, just being open, there'll be certain things that you'll even seeing a flyer on the wall that says like, there's this event, and for some reason you're open. You're like, that seems interesting. Say yes to that. Go. And I think that there's all these little whispers that we hear all the time that we have to honor. And I think those lead us to opportunities to connect with people. And so, I think my main suggestion, I guess, in doing something like that was just remain open and just be willing to say yes, even though you might be uncomfortable.
Matt, I've been tracking all the techniques we talk about in the pod that Travis just mentioned. One, friends of friends. always employ your friends. 2, third place. So you went to the dog park over and over again and you started to meet people. 3, the golden retriever technique, which is when you're happy to see people and you don't really care if they're happy to see you. You just come in and you're happy. 4, embrace randomness. You just see some random flyer or whatever, you just go for it. I mean, you're apex. I mean, you got it all.
Well, I'm doing my best every day. That's all I can do.
Can we talk about our meet cute? So we met at the gym probably 2013, like 10 years ago.
Brick
CrossFit.
Yeah.
Did you make other friends in that time? It's okay if I wasn't the only one. Like, what do you think about the gym as a social
100%.
avenue?
That's one that I probably left out and I shouldn't have, because no matter what, I think working out and doing anything physically active is such a social activity. Do you like cycling? You end up like cycling with your friends and you ride next to them, and it's really just a social hour. If you like running, it's the same thing. You go to the gym, it's the same thing. You have a common goal. You're there to, get fit or to go on a nice run or to, build your cardiovascular, whatever it is. You guys are there for a common purpose. And when you have a common purpose, it's so much easier to connect, and you're just more open, and you're also doing the same things and pushing each other. So it's such a nice platform to be able to connect organically. And the gym for us was that. Yeah, I had quite a few friends that I made at Brick. I started a girlfriend that I had for a couple of years that I met at Brick. And so, connections happen at the gym, especially you're sweating, your endorphins are flowing, you're like your serotonin and dopamine are just like bursting through your brain. It's a great place to meet people.
Why did we connect? It was so long ago, but I remember like we were like buddy very quickly.
Well, let's go over it, because I need a little bit. It happened so long ago. It's a little bit of a cloudy. There's like a cloudiness to it. I remember you doing stand up, and I went to one of your shows.
Okay.
So I remember knowing, thinking that you were funny and going to one of your shows, and also I knew that you were a writer, and so there was just this common ground that we had, because I'm an actor and I was, I think I was in an improv at that time. And so there was just a natural lane that we had, a very easy way to communicate. And you had a stand-up show, right? At the improv.
Yeah. I went from the gym. I invite everybody for the gym.
That's right.
Didn't you ride your bike to the gym like 7 miles every day?
Yeah, it wasn't 7 miles, but I definitely would ride my bike to the gym. Yeah. I still do that.
Aaron liked you because you have a strong jawline. That's
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, and piercing eyes. That's what
Don't objectify Travis. Don't objectify him.
A friend.
There's so much more to me, Matt. There's
not
so
according to Aaron,
more.
not offline. That was it. I got to ask about your new show, because it's great, FUBAR, and you're on a show with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And I assume you guys are boys now. That's just, my assumption was that you and him are BFFs.
His whole performance was done by AI. He actually was.
He's not even there. Damn it. I'm just curious. What's he like? Are you boys? Are you guys hanging out now? Like, are you friends with his goats and horses?
I've definitely met his animals. I actually saw him at Gold's this morning in Venice. We talked for a little bit and worked out next to each other. He's an incredible guy. And, thank you for watching the show. The show's it's such a goofy, fun ride. It's this big dysfunctional family that is trying to save the world. And it's just this really wild ride for 8 episodes. It's a fast watch. I was really, really proud of the work, and it was received really well, which is always a blessing, because you never know how people are going to receive the work. And it's always a nice like cherry on the top when people like it. But we had a great time doing it, and working with Arnold. He's the top. Look, Arnold has achieved everything he's ever wanted in his life, and so when you meet someone like that, you obviously just want to learn as much as you can without like gushing over him or like losing your sense of self, because I've watched this guy my whole life. I've looked up to him my whole life. And so I was a little intimidated to come and work with him. And my strategy around that was I very quickly let him know everything I respected about him. And I went through a laundry list of things about why he was, this legend to me. And I just had to like get this out of the way. And once I got that out of the way, I felt like we could actually get to work and start actually building a friendship. And yeah, you spend a lot of time with each other on set. Like if you've ever been on a set, it's a lot of hours. You're working like 12 to 14 hours a day. There's a lot of waiting around in between setups, and you have a lot of time to shoot the shit and to talk. And I got lucky enough to smoke some cigars with Arnold, and I'm a terrible cigar smoker. Like I've definitely had to like work on my technique. And
yeah, I don't know what the good way is. I can tell that when I'm smoking a cigar, everybody knows it's probably my first cigar like I've ever had. I think I tried to cut the wrong end the other day at a party, which is a pretty bad tell.
Yeah, it's definitely it's not something that I'm well versed at, but in order to be able to hang out and just to say that I've been able to smoke cigars with Arnold is just so neat. You've seen him do that in every movie he's ever been in. It's just this iconic, relationship he has with a cigar. I feel like he actually made the cigar business successful. Like that's just the kind of guy he is. Whatever he does and whatever he just genuinely enjoys, that thing becomes incredibly, successful. Same thing with the Hummer. He saw a Hummer on a military base and he's like, wow, that'd be really cool to drive something like this on the street. So he asked like Bush and Cheney what could be done about it. They teamed him up with GM or some whatever car company. They made one for him just solely. He didn't want any money and he wasn't thinking about anything in the future. He just wanted to drive one. So they made one street legal. He drove that around and people saw him driving it and they ended up having to make more. And the Hummer became what it is today because he just genuinely wanted one for himself.
What?
And so like, that's how he's always lived his life, and I feel like he's had such an impact. He's just one of those guys that when you're around him, you just want to be at your best. And so I feel like working with him and as a colleague and becoming his friend, it's only been a positive experience.
He's the man. I mean, he's the greatest. But we also talk about on the pod how having a mentor and like friendships across ages really serve you. I feel like he's the pinnacle of like, if you were going to be friends with somebody older, that's who you'd want to be friends with.
Yeah. On set, he's very open and engaging and curious too. Like I would definitely ask him some questions about politics and finances and would just pick his brain about things on set and just to hear his perspective. It was always one of those things where I would just like, is this really happening? But yeah, he's definitely got a lot of insight to offer as he's experienced more life. And I do think mentorship is really important. And it's always important to look back and to, to pay it forward and to mentor those that are coming up behind you.
I mean, what a professional Travis is. He's leading me into my next question, even though he doesn't even know what my next question is. But I want to talk to you about Big Brothers Big Sisters. And you serve on the board, is that?
I'm on the junior board, yeah.
Junior board of LA. And this is actually something we haven't talked about that much on the pod, which is mentoring people younger than you. And I'm just curious, first of all, I'm not even sure I know what Big Brothers Big Sister is. What I imagine is you're assigned, a kid who maybe doesn't have parents or they're not around and you hang out with them once a week and like go to the park. And is that basically the gist?
I can give you the rundown. So Big Brother Big Sister, it's a mentorship based program. It's a nonprofit where the big is the mentor, the little is, the child, and the child can come from, most of the time they come from living below the poverty line. One parent might be incarcerated. They're coming from a place where they're in need of some kind of stable mentor. And let's say as a mentor, I went to the program and I filled out an application. I told them, what my interests were. They take a long time to actually match you. They go through a process. It took about 4 months for them to come up with the match that would make the most sense for me. And then you end up meeting the little, and then you decide right then and there if you want to continue this. And so once that matching process is done, the requirement is it's a 1-year commitment and it's 4 to 6 hours every month. That's it. It is a very nominal commitment for a life-changing impact. It's 4 to 6 hours a month. And that can be whatever you want it to be. That could be going to the park and drawing. That could be skateboarding in Venice, which was my little brother and I's first outing. It could be driving up through the Angeles forest and touching snow for the first time. It could be going trick-or-treating in a really affluent neighborhood in the valley. It can be going to a coffee shop. It can be whatever you want it to be. But it's a year-long commitment. And the results based off of data are that these children that are in the program, and I think it starts from anywhere from 6 all the way until 14. is usually the age range. And they age out of the program at 18 years old. Yet my little brother's 24. And I still consider him my little brother. I met him when he was 11 turning 12.
What?
So it's been a while. But so
Wow.
here's the database results are the children in the program, they have more self-confidence. They have a higher chance of graduating high school and have better grades. They are more likely to not get involved with alcohol and drugs. I feel like having this program really sets a child up for success in a big way, and that there are results that prove that. So it's that's the gist of what the Big Brother Big Sister organization is. It's a mentorship based program, and the beauty of this program is that the mentors always across the board will say, hold on, I'm receiving way more than I feel like this kid is getting. Like, who's this program really serving? And that's across the board. Ask any mentor and they will say the exact same thing. And so, it's a beautiful service within a service, and everybody wins. And I think as we get older, creating win-win scenarios is the most important thing in our life.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And I also think as you get older, you realize that service serves you tremendously, right? Like we say, it's this, selfless thing, but it does actually do so much for you. I think that's just, the cycle of life that you kind of pick up these things. On a smaller scale, I helped mentor inner city kids in stand-up comedy, and I saw a lot of that, like confidence building and like all these things. But at the end of the day, I was like, this is so fun for me. This is I'm getting so much more.
We used to do this thing called Young Storytellers. I don't know if you've heard of this organization. You mentor kids in elementary school into writing a 5-page play. And it's an 8-week process of mentorship. And then at the end of that, you bring in a group of actors and they perform these plays in front of the whole school and in front of the parents that come. And I've been a mentor in that. I've also been a performer in that. And what you see is that these kids, they'll write 5-page story. And usually it's like about a banana or about, a ghost, or it's about, like a bicycle that's, that is supposed to like go on this magical journey, whatever it is that they write about. Most of their stories are about how they're not happy with the relationship at home, about how they're struggling with something. And you realize that this is just an outlet for kids to express themselves. And it's not just a way where they just talk. Like, that's almost too on the nose. Kids need this artistic way to get stuff out when they don't necessarily know how to communicate themselves yet. It's a way for them to understand themselves. And so that's why art and creativity is so healing. And that's why all these programs are so successul. Yeah,
I've heard a lot of great things about that Young Storytellers group as well.
Matt, you're going to love this. Travis, no way you remember this, but when we became buddies and we were hanging out a little bit, you immediately tried to get me to go to Malawi?
Malawi. Yeah, Malawi. Is in Southeast Africa.
And I was like, soft pass. I remember
I did. Yes, I asked you guys. That's right.
It was like a second friendship date. Or you're like, hey, what we should do next week? You want to go to Malawi to build a school?
I wanted to take this friendship to the next level and see if we had that capacity. And you let me know right away that this wasn't that kind of friendship.
I wasn't in the right place at that moment to go to Malawi.
He would go with me now. Yeah.
Now I would.
Well, I'm always putting together groups. So now that you said that.
Anyway, so they've had a great time. No, Travis, thank you so much, man. This was incredible. You're the man. So great to have you.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm always happy to reconnect with you. It's been way too long. And also just the thoughtful questions and, the reason behind this podcast is I think it's important, and it's great that you guys are doing this.
So I'm glad you finally get to meet Travis. Great dude.
I love that when you texted me, I made fun of you because you're like, he's a smoke show. I'm like, are we doing that now?
Did I say that?
He is quite handsome.
I think you should be able to say about your male friends, he's a smoke show.
No, we're going to have to poll this for our audience.
Okay, we'll do a poll.
I think the real poll has to be Baldoni or Van Winkle.
Oh, Van Winkle.
And they're buddies.
I'm a Van Winkle guy.
They're buddies. You're a Van Winkle guy?
Looks-wise?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Two polls. One on body alone, one on looks.
I think Baldoni's more jacked than Winkle.
Okay, you just said we can't call guys smoke shows, and now we're doing a body competition, hot or not. Get Zuckerberg on the line. So I love what he said about he takes a boys trip, or he used to take boys trips on New Year's Eve, like an accountability men's group trip.
So do you have like New Year's resolutions or any of that? And if so, do you share those with anybody? Because I have been doing a thing for a decade with my sister where we do our resolutions and we share them. But what I like about this is this was more about intentionality than goals.
Well, I don't know. What's the difference?
Well, goals are like, for me, it was like, I'm going to sell this script.
Right,
I'm going to, make X dollars. And
Yeah.
like things that are just, very much like tangible.
This is more like, I'm going to be like a better brother.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to be more open to new experiences.
Mm-hmm.
What do you just think about the fact that he would take these trips with just guys?
I think we need to do more of that.
Because I think when we talk about in this podcast and in our real life, when we talk about boys trips, we're talking about a boys trip, like Vegas.
You did a whitewater rafting trip a couple years ago. I feel I'm a little jealous of that. I feel that I'm suited to those things and I don't have an outlet for any like boys trips that aren't just drinking and partying. And I'm kind of at the point where in 2024, I would really like to set that up if you're into it.
Just to clarify, we were spent 10 days in the Colorado River. It was half like older people, half our age. The younger kids drank so much booze that we ran out halfway through. I said, this is unacceptable. I took one of like the dinghies, went off on my own. I met another rafting trip and I bartered with them like in the colonial times to get more booze. So it was about booze.
Oh my God. What'd you give them?
Yeah. We gave them some food stuff that we had and some whatever. And we got it. But I came back as a conqueror here because I couldn't row because this was pre-CrossFit. So I was so weak.
You are the friend of utility.
But there I was a friend of pleasure and a friend of utility.
Jesus.
But yes, I would love to do, I just want to make sure we're saying the same thing because the accountability part of it could be anything. It doesn't have to be why does it have to be camping?
It doesn't have to be. I
Okay,
just want it to be less about partying.
But I just love the party.
Yeah, I would like to the outdoors thing to me is like, that would be cool if we like went fishing or whatever.
I don't want to just like be naysaying something that's really good,
Yeah.
but like it's gonna be so boring.
Who am I kidding? We're just going to Vegas.
Yeah, let's get fucked up. I mean, I think we can do a trip like you're saying. We can still have some.
So not to go like all Theo, I like that he does a decathlon, but I've always wanted a bachelor party and you're the only one left where they do like an NFL combine.
So we're gonna jump real high?
Yeah. But like everything, you have like the ball shooting out at us, like like target, like you throw it through the thing.
This is an example of something that you would like.
Yeah.
That I don't. It's my bachelor party.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, what do we think about Travis's boys with our like hero Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Very jealous.
Yeah.
We have to have Theo actually double check in the meantime that story about Arnold coming up with the Hummer. Like, I don't know if that's true. It sounds incredible if Arnold basically handed GM the entire business model without taking a cut.
That
like,
Arnold basically saw a military Hummer.
Yeah, it
and
was
was
like, I want one.
Yeah, I have heard that before.
Okay, well, we'll have Theo do it.
Also, remember in Terminator, he got paid with a Black Hawk helicopter instead of money?
Right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, look, if there were actors like that I would want to be friends with, like legends, he would be way up there.
Yeah.
I always thought he would be president if he was born here.
Yeah. Because we've talked about emailing with Arnold Schwarzenegger twice in this pod.
I mean, if you had only gotten DeVito on board.
I know. Just to recap, Arnold read one of my scripts, really liked it, shared it with Danny DeVito, who didn't like it, and never heard from him ever again.
Now Karo hates the Penguin.
What do you think Arnold's email is? We talked about it. No, we talked about Danny DeVito's email.
Oh, yeah. Arnold's got to be, let's think. Arnold's got to be like bodybuilding related.
Oh,
right?
You think it's like Bodybuilder 63 at GeoCities?
No, I think it's Mr. Universe 72 through 75
that's good.
At Comcast.net.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Travis, thank you so much for coming on. And if you guys haven't watched FUBAR on Netflix, watch it. It's incredible. It already got renewed.
So, Karo, what did we learn today?
I think I learned from you that not every boys trip has to be about raging and partying. It could also just be about taking some time to be accountable and, give each other some support.
I would love that. You rejected my overture.
We learned. I say that, but I learned nothing.
Yeah. I learned, maybe just renewed, because I was doing this youth program where I was teaching inner city kids stand-up comedy, and I haven't done it in a few years because of COVID. And when he talked about Big Brothers, it was a reminder to me that giving back does a lot for yourself. And I also think you can meet people. I made friends.
You trying to meet kids?
The other mentors.
Yeah.
With the other mentors. I think there's an opportunity there to meet like-minded folks when you give back too.
Yeah, I like what we said in the interview was that when you're giving back, you're actually gaining a lot.
It's selfish.
Yeah, it is a little selfish.
Yeah, in a good way.
In a good way. Theo, what do we have? This is Erroneous with Thelonious.
So this is hot from Wikipedia. It does seem like Arnold deserves some credit for the Hummer. As, and I quote, "The civilian model began in part because of the persistence of Arnold, who saw an army convoy while filming Kindergarten Cop in Oregon and then lobbied for it."
No, so Travis was right. So Arnold's not telling tales outside of school.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to, Arnold.
I know. Like, if
Right?
you're
Like Arnold doesn't need to make up stories.
if anything, he has to underplay it.
God, why did I doubt him? He'll never hang out with me.
All right, well, that's our show, guys. Remember, be good to yourself, be good to your friends.
Love you, buddy.